Hello, welcome to my second ever YouTube video. My name is Emily and today we're going to be stitching in a stitch journal. This is my third stitch journal and I really like them, and I tend to make them out of felt because I like felt. I like stitching through felt, and I'm sure I'll make a video about how I make these. So this one I've decided is going to be reds and oranges, and that I do that because then I can make up a little baggie. I can take it with me when I go places. And I don't have to choose, oh, what am I going to do today? It's warm colors. What's in the bag? Now, this one, I've gone a little bit further. So I put a circle in the front, just like I showed you in the last video. And then I decided that the other pages, well, they're going to be circles. And you can see I haven't finished these pages. I just kind of stitch what I want when I want in them. I don't really have any rhyme or reason other than I decided I wanted there to be circles. I've added some crochet, but today I figured I'd start a new page with you and we'd do some stitching together. So with this new page, I have a needle, I have my threads. So I have orange and red and yellow and marigold. And I just tend to pick up these sort of threads. These are crochet threads. I like the way they sew, but you could use any sort of threads you have. I have my scissors. And today I want to play with, so the other day, my friends and I were messing around with some polymer clay. And then I started making these little doodads and putting holes through them because I thought they would be fun to stitch through. So these are just, polymer clay. They're baked. They're still a bit bendy, but I knew as soon as I started making them that they would be fun to put in my journal. Oop. So you can see one side is a little bit better than the other, like that's not the neatest there. But that side's okay. I wasn't too precious when I made them. But I made this one and I thought, well, I want to stitch around in a circle. So we'll stitch around in a circle. I just have them in there in an embroidery hoop to keep them out of the way. And I think I'm going to start with some red. And when I do this, I don't ever really have much of a plan. Like, I know I want to sew this, but I haven't decided other than that. And this stitch journal doesn't have a plan other than yellows and oranges and reds, and I've been putting a circle on every page. So let's see where it goes. I use these stitch journals as a way just to not think and to stitch, but I also use them as a way to practice stitches, just to let my mind go. I often, because it's such an easy thing to travel with, there's nothing that would get bent or broken, and it's not like it can really get creased or anything weird. In the end, it's a felt book. So this goes in my purse, and then I have a little pouch that I carry some threads in, carry a needle and a pin cushion in, and that's it. I can take it to the doctor's office. I can take it to the airport. I can take it out on a walk with me and stitch in nature. Really, whatever I'm feeling that day. So I haven't really thought about how I'm going to stitch this down yet, other than I'm going to stitch it down like a button, I guess. I don't know if I want to go around. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll go around it this way. And the point of stitching in a journal is to just stitch. Just to be present, feel your needle going through the threads. Enjoy it. Don't stress about it. There's not really a purpose other than stitching. And I like that. I like just the art of creating. You can see I just moved this journal, so I'm just holding this page. Often that's what I do. And I don't worry about what the back looks like. You can see this is the back of the other page. I'm not too worried about that. I find sometimes that the backs of the pages become beautiful without me even trying. They're interesting. Definitely interesting. I can't find the hole on the back of this. There we are. Now, I found from stitching that I really liked how that corner went, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 3 stitches. One straight, one in the corner, one sideways. Now I have my thimbles on my fingers, even though I don't really ever need them for felt. Occasionally I'll use them to push, but I don't, I'm not pushing through anything crazy difficult. That's why I like making them out of felt. Now this is just acrylic felt, but you can use wool. I just had acrylic felt, so that's what I'm using. And I'm really liking how this is coming out. I knew it would be interesting when I was playing with the polymer clay. I thought, And that's how I like stitching. I've stitched all sorts of things down into my journals. I've stitched seashells, I've stitched stones, I've stitched sticks, I think. I stitch down threads and crochet all the time. I love doing little tiny crochet pieces and putting them in because I like the texture. So when I do a stitch journal, I just stitch. And sometimes I like them a lot more. Like this one, I had just this much thread left of this. It's a crochet thread, but it's a thicker one than I usually sew with. And so I thought, well, I'll just do a crochet piece. And so I crocheted and I stitched it down. And then a few days later, I added this circle. And I still don't consider this page finished yet, but I'll come back to it at some point. And that's what I like about these journals. It's not like I finish a page and then, oh, well, I'm done with that page. I'll come back to it. See, here's some more crochet. I made a little flower. This one, this is a yo-yo that I stitched down, or a Suffolk puff. Yo-yo, Suffolk puff. I often have themes of flowers. I like putting buttons in. Anything. One of the joys for me of these stitch journals is touching them. You know, they're made to be touched. Let's see if I can finish this with the thread that I have. It's questionable. I don't think I'll be able to go around this corner, but we'll see. Maybe. Just like that. Now, it's interesting because I thought when I made this, I had those perfect little circle. I made a circle of dots and I thought, oh, it's going to look so much like a circle when I'm done. It does not. I kind of want it to look like a circle though, so I think I'm going to go through with another thread and enhance the circle qualities. But really, when I stitch, it's just plain. And I'm not too fussed about tying a knot at the end. I just tie a knot at the end. So I think I'm going to go in with some, some darker yellow and make it look more like a circle. Because that's what I've decided the theme of this is. Circles and warm colors. And everything else is just fun. Oh, and I have this Band-Aid on my hand. Don't worry. I have a scratch. It'll be healed in a few days. But I didn't want you to have to look at it when it's unseemly. I always trim the tails off my threads. I think it's habit because I tie a knot. I keep meaning to learn to tie a knot closer to the end so I don't waste that about inch of thread, but now it's a habit. So let's see if I can't make this look more like a circle. And since I went through already, I should have some guides on the back. What I like about stitching is that it's not permanent. If I decided I hated it, I could cut this out. But at the same time, if I don't cut it out, it's going to stay here. I didn't have to glue it. I didn't have to stick it in. I've stuck it through, made it part of what is underneath. And I think that's another reason why felt appeals to me, because the felt, all the fibers are just meshed and, felted together. And now I'm putting things on top. It's really interesting. When I first make one of these journals, I always think I did it wrong because it comes out very skinny. Because once I've stitched in all sorts of little objects like this polymer clay bead, or, bits of crochet, or just layers of embroidery, it really changes. It fills up. And it's not even that many pages. Now, I like that quite a bit. That little medallion that I've created. I think I'm going to go around again. Just as I go, it's a process. What are some other things I've done? I've tested out stitches. I like adding some weaving into my journals. But today I'm just stitching. And I don't know what I'm going to do on the rest of the page. But we'll see. It'll be something. I think I like that. I'm not going to go all the way around. I have a bit more thread I could, but doesn't need it. But I do think I'm going to sew more of these little polymer clay doodads. A bead? Is this considered a bead? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Is this a bead? A bead is something with a hole through it, so there's a hole through it. Is it a button? It's flat. What's the difference between a bead and a button? Because I've seen buttons used as beads. And I'm pretty sure that you can use beads as buttons. I've done it when I've made little tiny doll clothes. All right, I'm just going to turn this way. And that's as good a place as any to stitch this on. Do I like this side or do I like that side? This side. You can see I still have all my fingerprints. I was not too precious when I made these polymer clay beads, bead buttons. I just made them how I wanted. But I think all of them on the page will look interesting together. And if they don't, that's okay too. It's an interesting experience filming this. I hope, oh goodness, I'm making it so you can't see. I hope that you can see. Usually, I don't film. I usually have this on my lap and I'm very quiet, or I'm watching something, and it's a way to keep my hands doing something creative. Let's see. Let's add some texture. Can you see the difference there between those two? I like that. And there we are. There's a second one. I'm going to continue sewing, and I'll come back to you once I have the whole page filled up. All right. So, as you can see, I've added more in. Now, I only made this many the other day. I didn't know how I'd like them, and as you can see, there's fingerprints all over them, and I didn't smooth them out perfect. But what I like about a journal like this is it's kind of a proof of concept. Like, oh, this was really fun. I enjoyed doing that. Maybe I'll do it bigger. So I stitched each of them down. I used different colors, reds and oranges and yellows. Switched it up, put some little knots in between them, put some little stitches. I'm still not happy with the composition of this page. I don't think it's done yet. But for today, it's done. I spent about an hour and a half stitching, and that's a good amount of time for me. It's a nice exercise. It's a nice way to calm my mind, and I'm happy with it. Now, earlier I had mentioned that the backs of them end up interesting too, and I think that's great. Now, you could look at this and say, Emily, that's a load of messy stitching, which it is. It wasn't being neat. But it's also very interesting to look at, the threads. So that's where we ended up with today. I'm sure in the future I'll figure out what I want to balance this corner here. But until then, it'll be there. Now you see it. It does give it some width. All these pages, these ones aren't even the same length as everything else. But it's a journey. It's a story. It's an idea to use later. And that's why I like stitch journaling. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.